Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear public, dear students, I am Nicolas Maslovsky, and I invite you to our second, I believe, second this semester meeting of our Geopolitical Tuesdays, and co-organized by the Faculty of Political Sciences and International Studies that I'm representing here at the University of Warsaw, the Center for French Culture and Francophone Studies, the Groupe Geopolitics ENS, that is one of the publishers of Le Grand Continent, and we are very happy to speak today about a very actual topic, Europe, geopolitics, and the French proposal for the European political community. The proposal is not new, but the topic is very actual. I suppose that we will have the occasion to debate about this actuality with Katerina Klimoska. Katerina, you are speaking with us from Skopje, from the University Cyril and Methodius, where you are working at the School of Political Studies. Yes, and you are a candidate in international relations and conflict management, and you are known here as well because you were publishing in Le Grand Continent, yes?
Yes, that's right.
About geopolitics of France, and you will speak to us about the future of Europe, the French vision of this future, and how why this French vision is important, what effect it will have, it has, what is the context of emergence of this vision, and what we can expect from it. I suppose that this French vision is not the only vision for the future of Europe, but I believe deeply that it is an important one. France is an important actor. The vision is taking into account the difficulties for a quick enlargement and the need to act quickly facing the wars and the geopolitical instabilities. I propose that you make your presentation for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, and then let's keep some time to discuss. And I would like to say to the public, I remind you that you can write your question on the chat or write them on a paper and raise your hand at the end of the presentation. For once we will you will finish your general presentation, Katerina, we will begin this question and answer session, and we will take progressively the questions, or if we have a lot of questions, we will take as many as possible. Thank you again for being with us and sharing your point of view, a point of view that is interesting because it is in the south margin of the EU, southeastern margin, very, very interested in the question of the future of the enlargement and sensible to all the geopolitical influences we can have nowadays in this complicated world. Katerina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity to present my research and my vision. I hope I will provoke debates and future thinking, because maybe I will not give some closures of my arguments. Mostly, I think I will provoke more questions. So just at the beginning, I want to say that my love for this idea, this beautiful idea for Europe, began once I enrolled the School for Political Studies of Council of Europe. And after that, especially after hearing the Macron's speech in Sorbonne with this for this beautiful idea for Europe and for all of us being a part of that as a family. So even more important question for building geopolitical Europe is today, having on mind all the geopolitical shifts and challenges we are facing in today's world. So everybody should question themselves what is the solution for the future of Europe, and how Europe should act in the future as a geopolitical actor, or we as part of some other association, or until now as it is. So I will share my presentation. Okay, I think now it's okay. You can see the presentation.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So at the beginning, I want to emphasize that in my presentation, I will not focus on the proposal, but I will focus on the need for this kind of proposal, and why this is a time that we must embrace and develop the Europe as geopolitical actor, as the Macron proposed last year, with the multi-speed Europe, and especially with the European political community. So during the years after the Second World War, Europe entered calmer period. So I would say, especially with the creation of European community, whose main goal was never again to face war on the European continent, especially between European countries. So as the concept of Europe has evolved through the European community to today's European Union, Europeans have long focused only on its on its normative aspects, and they were building the civilian power of European Union. Meantime, ignoring the shifts on the geopolitical chessboards in the surroundings. So, in metaphorically speaking, Europeans played elegant tennis, while the rest of the world played chess. At the beginning, also, we must ask, where is the world now? And with all these escalations and changes around us, in which phase of the world we are living? Geopolitical world orders are relatively stable pattern of powers. So they define the basic parameters of the international politics of the time. As Taylor would say, such orders represent relative stable patterns of geopolitical power distribution over a distinctive period of time. But is this the case now in the world we live in? Are we in a cycle of building a new world order? I'm pointing out here, emphasizing some of the key developments in the past period. So in 2022, we have the joint statement of the President of China and Russia, where they are announcing the new era of multipolar world. Also, we have Russia-Ukraine war. Latest, we have the Middle East escalations. From 2015, the migrants flows, and more developments which tell us that we are not in the period where we are in the old world order, where the one hegemon was ruling, but now the geopolitical world is changing. So some authors, even from 2000, developments in the indicators of the growth of 5 factors, especially China, Russia, Brazil, India, and of course United States of America. Even in 2009, Reinhardt said that these will be the 5 actors that will decide the future of the world. But also, if we analyze the power index in the past 10 years or 5 years, we will see the these 5 factors that are in the power index timetable. But also in this year, 2023 score, we have United States, Russia, China also among the first. From European Union, we have constantly in the past 10 years, we have France, as well United Kingdom. But for the first year on the 10th place, there is Italy. So we can refer here to Methodius' statement back in 2009, 2010, where in his research, he's arguing that Europe is the quiet superpower, or Europe the world's second military power. Is this a case, and how this should and could be built? It's a question of our time, but taking in consideration the other European countries on this power index, when their capacity join, then we can see the relevance of Moravec saying that Europe could be is the quiet superpower, or Europe could be the world's second power. But before going further, we must see and answer what is power, and what is Europe as power, and what that means. Flynn defines power as getting what you want. So geopolitics as the struggle over the places and spaces focuses on power, or the ability to achieve particular goals in the face of opposition or alternatives. In the classical sense of the word, it's achieving your goal through war, while in the modern sense, through the skills of make them follow your agenda willingly, without considering alternatives. We have 3 kinds. Power could be material, relational, or ideological. But material power we define by strong economy, the smart population, and large army. Relational power is the power of a country evaluated in cooperation with other countries, and ideological power, according to which the power of one state is determined according to the degree of ability to persuade others to do what they want, but willingly. Europe is built as an ordered space with the ability to radiate its beneficial effects and provide order to the disorder outside. So, in addition to its military capabilities, the real geopolitical comparative advantage of Europe lies in its civilian influence or use of ideological power through economic and cultural influence, especially through the policy of EU enlargement. We see in the through the years how the policy of EU enlargement reformed the countries and made them follow the European values. But is it the case still? Is the European policy giving good results even now? It's something to be analyzed. So with the enlargement, European Union is including more economies and larger population, and also readiness to answer the surroundings in each time, give answer to each development. However, whether this is in the function of relation power, so a power compared to other forces on the geopolitical board, depends on the indicators that can be drawn from enlargement results, as well as the cohesiveness of all members within the European Union. How could joint decision be made on important issues? Or in short, the success of this policy towards the creation of Europe as power depends on homogeneity and the capacity of EU integration with its border, especially in the field of defense and foreign policy. But why Europe and how Europe could be separate geopolitical actor? Here I give a few examples from old theories where I see that it's by the position of Europe and its history, there's how can I say, characteristics for future development of future geopolitical actor. So I refer to the Clash of Civilization by Samuel Huntington, where he talks about European civilization as a historically speaking, Western civilization is European civilization, and he's taking as a basic feature the rule of law, which value we see just in Europe as a fundamental, not in other civilization. We can see also as a value in other civilization, but not fundamental as Europeans have that. Also then the Macinder's heartland theory, where he summarized in one sentence: who rules East Europe commands the heartland, who rules the heartland commands the world island, and who rules the world island commands the world. So here we see the importance of position of Eastern Europe and also Europe as a geographical entity in the face of this theory. After that, the Spikeman's Rimland theory, even more, because Spikeman, different from Mackinder, says that the power in the world is determined by control of the coastal regions surrounding the heartland. So Spikeman believed that whoever controlled the Rimland could prevent the heartland from expanding its power and could potentially challenge the heartland's dominance. I will just show the maps of these two theories. So we have here the Mackinder's theory. You see the pivot area is most of the area of Russia, and also the Spikeman, the red one, is the Rimland, again Europe is part of this most important area by Spikeman's theory. Also here I underlined some Spikeman's from arguing in 1938. He says that unless the dreams of European Confederation should materialize, it might well be that the 50 years from now, the world powers will be China, India, United States, and today's Russia. And also I finish, and at the end I finish with the Schuman Declaration, where it is said that a united Europe was not achieved and we had war. So again, I will say that even like these examples are old and for many may be not relevant, but taking into account the circumstances in today's world, where we see again characteristic of the old power rivalries and classical geopolitics, I use them here for making point of the important geopolitical position of Europe and the need for one geographical entity that will function as a geopolitical actor in the world. It should be emphasized that common foreign for one to be a geopolitical actor, a common foreign and defense policy is most closely linked to the construction of this kind of entities. These policy areas are often considered to represent the fundamental features of state sovereignty, so to which extent they may be regionalized is consequently linked to the construction of geopolitical codes, which are very important. So here is the question also if the possible common European geopolitical codes could be developed. Furthermore, in my research, I accept the notion that the concept of Europe needs geopolitical reasons to have political outcomes. So if there is no geopolitical necessity, there is no Europe as a tangible concept. And which is at the very point of Macron's arguing for geopolitical Europe or Europe as power. In the last years, we hear awareness for Europe as a geopolitical actor, and we can see and hear narrative toward this. For example, in 2016, in the global strategy for the European Union's foreign and security policy, we have strategic autonomy. In 2017, Macron goes with European sovereignty. And 2019, we have the president of the European Commission announcing the geopolitical commission that Europe urgently needs. But how this could be achieved, and if this could be achieved by the current construction of European Union, knowing that it is not a state, and also it is not organization, even they are characteristic for both, as well as the nation states are still relevant and their time are not past. So here at the beginning, I on another my argument about another concept that Europe needs, so we can go further in the construction of a geopolitical entity. You can see the political map of Europe with all these countries that are part of Europe, geographical Europe. And here is a map of Europe, and each country is represented by flower. So you have this unique garden of flowers, each of them with its unique beauty, and you must find a way how to function and to make this this uniqueness in the aim that in one to have one goal and one aim. So how to address the current geopolitical challenges? In the past years, there were researchers working on new concept. Even it is a new, it is not a new concept. It is something that you can find it. You can find it in the treaties, even from the Treaty of Rome. But it was, but the most of the research was done in the past years. It is the concept of differentiated integration as a way forward, because of the inability of all countries in Europe to respond simultaneously with the same level of development to certain issues, complicates the functioning of the European Union and especially its enlargement. So in 2017, the European Commission presented 5 possible scenarios for the future of Europe in the documents called the White Paper on the Future of Europe. One of the scenarios presented in these documents is those who want more, do more, meaning the EU will allow willingly member states to do more together in the specific area. Through this, the concept of differentiated integration as a possible solution for the future of Europe is officially part of the strategies, and the research of this concept began. But formally, as I mentioned before, the possibility is given in the Maastricht Treaty, but also in the Lisbon Treaty. Although some researchers argue that it is present even back from the Treaty of Rome. But for the concept to be fully implemented, further changes in the treaties are needed. Before I go to Macron's proposal for the latest proposal for a multi-state Europe, first we'll need to answer two very important questions concerning Europe: the borders of Europe and the glue that keeps all these countries together. So, as we know, the borders, the Europe's borders have not yet been completed or defined, and this is one of the key to potential of Europe as a power, because you have more to build and to take more countries in your family, as I say. In 2016, the French geopolitician Michel Fouché, answering the question, where does Europe end, says that European Union has avoided setting geographical limits on Europe. Even defining them would mean making political, cultural, and financial choices. So it is not a matter of excluding certain countries, but of being able to exercise an effective foreign policy that will promote common values and interest, and the countries that are part of geographical Europe to come to this family. From a geographical side, Europe is a peninsula of Eurasia, limited by the Mediterranean Sea, the Black Sea, the Caucasus Mountains, the Atlantic Sea, the Arctic Ocean, and the Urals and Caspian Sea. Also here we can refer to de Gaulle's vision for Europe as a product of geography and history, as a means of combining and increasing the power through these old states, which are part of Europe's horizon. Schimmelfield's definition of Europe again emphasized the geographical core on the western peninsula of Eurasia, and he also emphasized the Europe's fuzzy fluid eastern borders. So he concludes that in political and media discourse, Europe has become closely associated with the European Union. In the report of the European Council by the Reflection Group of the Future of European Union 2030, it stated, the EU must remain open to potential new members from Europe, assessing every candidacy on its own merits and compliance with the membership criteria. These are the true limits of Europe. So again, here we see the still the openness of Europe policies towards the borders and defining the borders of European Union or Europe. The second most important thing which I want to emphasize here is the glue which gets together all these different nations and countries. The imperative for each Europe country, and for the candidates, are the Europe values. So democracy is a core value of the European Union, and furthermore, I will refer here to the three core EU values: the rule of law, democracy, and also the human rights, because they are interconnected and they are a common set of values that unites the people in Europe. If the individuals lose awareness of the fundamental values of the society, they lose their cohesiveness and the connection in the society. So the importance of European values and the basis for a free, modern, and democratic European community is in the presence of these European values in each country that wants to join European Union or to be part of the concept for Europe. These are is the glue that unites all of them. It is a precondition for sustainable action, which is why it's important to study the relationship between democracy and differentiated integration, and to which extent the democracy indexes for democracy are influencing integration or disintegration. That's why it's important to see the results of European Union enlargement policy, and if this is in function of more cohesive European project. So now again we have the proposal. Again, it's a Macron's proposal for multi-speed Europe. Even it is not something new. And it is built on the presumption that Europe is a political project and not just economical one. In his two interviews in 2019 in Financial Times and Economist, Macron argued that Europe should start thinking of herself as a geopolitical power, having control of her destiny, saying that this is the time of truth, whether the European Union is a political project or just a market project. Even at the beginning, the European community started like economical cooperation in its fundamental, in its aim. It can be seen that even at the beginning it was a political project, because the purpose was never to have war again on Europe and to bring all these countries that have similar values together. At the beginning, the conditions or criteria to be part of this community was to have economic market, and also developed economic market, and also to be part of geographical Europe. But as the concept of Europe was developing, now we have the Copenhagen criteria, which are fundamental if we want the European Union to exist as such. Macron's strong support of European strategic autonomy is a traditional French objective, and is coming from a geopolitical necessity. Europe should move from being a Europe of cooperation inside the borders to a powerful Europe in the world, fully sovereign, free to make its choices and master its destiny. But proposal for multi-speed Europe we see in the researchers of many authors, even back in 1994, up to 2014, and also there is one book, Democracy in Europe, looking further ahead, which also tackle this issue about different stages and different circles of construction of Europe. Even Joschka Fischer in 2000, in his proposal, we can see this concept, up to Schimmelfeld and Holzinger, where they developed the Grabitz theory into two or multiple speed Europe, which by them is closest to the current European Union. The concept aims to introduce a federal political union in several steps, where some states cooperate closer at an earlier point in time, while others follow how they develop during the time. So even from years back, it was never a question of if EU would enlarge to her natural borders, but when and how much differentiated integration can the EU accommodate. As the paper of one report of TIA study from 2005 states that European Union might not survive in the next 2 decades, we see that the opposite is happening. So with bringing the differentiated integration as a way of functioning of some of the policies in the European Union, we see that even there's some disintegration inside the European Union, again, the functioning of the Union is allowed. So the study is not relevant from this point. But now, even we emphasize that the EU enlargement is one of the most important policies of European Union for influencing and making positive changes in the surroundings. But if we see the indicators from and here I took 3 indicators from one Freedom House, also the Democracy Index and the Rule of Law Index, and I followed them in the past 5 years. I examined how they were changing, especially with the candidate countries and the Eastern partnerships, and I saw that the results are not positive. So it was relevant that the new methodology for enlargement was presented. But when the new methodology will start giving results, it's a question, because it needs time. So we see some changes in the indexes, especially for democracy and rule of law, which again I referred to earlier when I said that there must there can't be cherry picking when it comes to European values in the countries that want to join some of the European Union policies. So what to do in this what to do now and how to go further when the enlargement is not giving results, especially that it's not giving positive results. In 2017, there was a nice interview with Alain Lamassoure called "What to Do with Europe," and he says he is very fond of the term community because it can be translated as something warm from the European ideal as if we were a family of people. So here in 2022, we have Macron presenting at the end of the Conference of Europe, for Europe, the European political community. Again, it is not something new, because we can find some similarities even with the Skopje plan, even back to de Gaulle's term, but more at the grand design of Mitterrand's European Confederation in 1989. But taking Mitterrand didn't succeed. Maybe the reason was because of the country he planned to be part of this confederation. Maybe the time was not there, but taking into account the geopolitical necessity in the world in which we live now, it is something what Europe needs. The political community's platform for political coordination, for political dialogue and cooperation between countries in the European geographical, from the Europe as a geography, that goes beyond enlargement. So it is not a substitute for the current European Union policies. It is additional policy or proposal which should be developed in the meantime while the reform on the enlargement is giving positive results. Also, we can, the European political community, we can see as a result of the announcement of the Geopolitical Commission back in 2019, when the president of European Commission announced with an aim to the borders to be stable, to practice the multilateralism, but also to discuss and bring this decision on common foreign security and defense policy, something which is very important in building the geopolitical actor. From this, we can build the European codes and make decisions in one voice, which how can I say, depending which countries are our friends or possible enemies, how the codes are constructed. So there will be no confusion in the stepping forward when it comes to the foreign policy or talking in the name of Europe with the rest of the world. In the European political community, it is they are not just the European Union member states and also candidate countries, but also the countries as Norway, Ireland, Switzerland, and Eastern partnerships. Of course, there is no Russia or Belarus, and as I saw, they also sent invitation to Turkey. But how this will be developing in the future, and which structure will take, it should be something to be seen how they will decide on the summits that are going on. So the purpose would be to embrace the wider Europe and offering greater stability for cooperation and making this geographical entity in like one actor, making feel all the countries like they are belonging to the family, even they are not part of the enlargement process maybe, or they're not still part of the European Union, but with this special status, part of European political community, you're giving them some kind of sense of belonging, and even maybe the enlargement process will give more results with with calling all of them to sit on the table of Europe. So from the beginning, when there were just 6 countries up to European Union with 27 countries, European political community gives us bring all the countries in geographical Europe in one place, and now we have 47 countries together talking about common foreign defense and security policy. Also climate changes and energy, but I am talking about these specific policies that are very crucial to building geopolitical actors. So that's why I put emphasis on this. So I will sum up with conclusions that the need for Europe as a geopolitical player does not come from someone's desire, but first from the circumstances in which the world finds itself. The change in geopolitical reality puts Europe to the test, whether and to what extent it is ready to transform itself into a geopolitical actor. The need for expansion is present, especially in Europe's natural borders, which will bring border stability through common security, defense, and foreign policy. The problem of heterogeneity of the countries that are part of Europe's natural borders makes more than necessary the differentiated integration through multi-speed concept of multi-speed Europe. The way which it will be possible to move forward as much as possible based on common values. And at the end, I will end with the Macron's saying that the European political community is a political forum that aims to get on the Europe's board all states that share the same values and geography and build together a political coordination. I underlined here 2 statements one from Spikeman, represents of classical geopolitics, and one represents from critical geopolitics. And we may say that, from which we may say that we can plan or we can build different strategies and organize the Europe different ways, but the geography is teaching us that we must position ourselves depending on how the geopolitical world is driving. So now it's time to unite in Europe in one geopolitical actor and acting with the rest of the world as such. Thank you very much, and I hope I was interesting.
Thank you. Yes, Katerina, you were very interesting. I think the topic is very interesting because, and I believe that in Europe, especially in the margins of Europe, it's a topic that can bring a lot of emotions because some countries say we are such in a situation like Ukraine of war. We want to have full membership, yes, without waiting for fulfilling the rules of law and economic requirement of the EU and of the common market. Some others countries say our economy is not ready for such a quick enlargement to smaller or bigger countries, yeah, like Macedonia, North Macedonia, or Ukraine, yeah, what we have to think about our farmers, our agriculture, and so on and so on. So I suppose that there will be some questions. We have 60 participants, so I'm not sure that if everybody will have a question, I'm not sure we will have time to answer them all, but if there is a few questions, it would be good. Dear participants, the floor is yours. Do you have a question? Please write the end or take the floor. It can be as well a small comment, not too long. Think about it, think about a question. Until that time, maybe I will have a question, but I understand that when you were speaking about rules of law, you were thinking about countries that are out of the EU and that are trying to enter. And sometimes they need first to make some reforms. But the question of rules of law is as well a topic for countries that are already in the EU.
Inside, yes.
It was a hot topic in Poland, it is still, or in Hungary. It could become a topic to a certain point concerning Spain. So, do you think that internal problem of the EU can be a problem to become a geopolitical actor? An important geopolitical actor?
Yes, because the concept of ever closer union, as we had until a few years ago, now it's not achievable at this moment. So because of these disintegrations inside and because of the changes in the indicators of rule of law and democracy, even in the member state countries. So that's why many of the researchers that are working on differentiated integration are pointing out that the opt-out and this oscillation in the indicators, they should be followed and should be taken into consideration even when it comes to member states. That's why it's a problem for enlarging European Union at this moment. It is not a question if European Union will be enlarged. It will, because it's one of the fundamental policies of the Union. But it's a question when and how that should be achieved, because with these disintegrations inside and not be able to bring common decision in one voice, it's a problem of functioning in the European Union and even to building a geopolitical actor as such. So it is not a question just for the candidate countries, but also and for the member states.
So I see that there is a question, a quite long question on the chat concerning as well the relation between internal politics of the EU or internal organization and outside policy. I remind that you are speaking, you are a researcher specialist on all these topics, so you can speak about it, but you are as well speaking from a country that is outside of the EU, that is maybe used more to look at the enlargement than at the inside reforms. But I would like to propose to Ms. Kasia Skorniewska, I'm sorry, if Ms. Kasia Skorniewska, would you like to ask the question directly?
Yes, I can do that. I hope my voice is okay because I have a
it's
bit of a
perfect.
problem. Okay, so thank you very much for at the beginning for the insightful presentation. There was a lot of different facts, and I'm very grateful for that. And coming directly to the question, I was wondering, because we spoke a lot about different approaches and possible shifts of European Union, and there was a lot about this French approach of how the European Union could be reformed and what it could be changed. And what I would like to ask already is, there is this increased attention of the institutional reform of the European Union, and I would like to ask, because the main talks are about this change of qualitative majority votes, as I understand, or this is one of the main objectives of the reform. And I would like you to ask, and I would like to ask you, what are the benefits? Because I already understand the benefits of Germany and France, of those two countries, but I'm not sure what are the benefits of the rest of the countries that are in favor of this reform. So all of the southern countries, Benelux, if I'm not mistaken. So all of these countries that are in the group of friends of Q and V. Thank you.
Thank you. If you read the report of the Franco-German group, most of their recommendation could be seen also from the conclusion of the Conference for Future of Europe. So it is something that the Europeans are strongly agreeing with. The difference in the countries and about the different way of voting and making the decisions is it is something that is present during the years. Even when it comes to enlargement, you have countries that are friendly to enlargement. You have countries that are critical to enlargement, but there should be a way to introduce this the reform in the way of voting and making the decision at the European level, especially on some policies. And I think that it could be achieved in the future, because I saw this kind of results in the Conference of Europe. So if the majority of people, of Europeans, are in favor of this kind of change, then I think the governments also will accept, not most of them, but they will come up with some agreement. Again, not on all policies, but on fundamental, like the foreign policies, enlargement, and the defense policy. I think, yes, they will work on this. And it was even in the history of European Union, it is always France and Germany that are pushing forward in this all the reforms, and how the next
yes,
the next stage should be developed. Germany mainly in economical point of view, with France with diplomatic and political, but mainly these two countries are like the main in giving their ideas how the reforms should be made, and others are just giving examples and following. So I think that we will be witnesses of changing of this way of voting and making the decisions.
Thank you. Thank you. It's clear, even though I think that we can always imagine a situation when a qualified majority voting is in the interest of the citizens, but one of the small countries considers that it is not in its interest and it's able to veto it. Yes, so we always have such a danger. I'm afraid that I was unfair. I haven't noticed that there was a question earlier, a question on the chat from Mr. Jan Kolczynski. Are you here, Mr. Jan Kolczynski? Maybe not, or maybe there is no possibility to speak. So in such a case, I will read this short question. Is there a difference between the French and German approach here to the European integration?
Yes, as I mentioned, when first of all, to say that I haven't examined exactly the German approach to European integration, but when you read the papers and the policies, you have the impression that German were always like a booster for economical part, and the part for economic integration and building this part of Europe. And but French, they were always for this big vision, the big picture, the diplomatical approach, and the political project union of Europe, and somehow they're like complementary between them. I see them like such. So I was not surprised when I saw that French and German group are sitting together for this recommendation on reform of Europe in the future.
Mr. Kolczynski was there, but not able to speak. Thank you very much. This is an important question as well. I think that you are speaking about the traditional motor role of France or Germany, and it's true that as those countries are quite numerous, there is a tradition, especially in France, but in Germany as well, to play together a role of motor. Probably these are not the only countries that are willing to have an influence. I know that Poland, with less success because smaller country and not always in a large coalition, but Poland has the will to make reforms, to make evolutions, and this is a constant will that began even before Poland entered the EU. Poland was able to influence the Nice Treaty without being member. So there are some periods where you had more success than others, but there is a strong will. Can we imagine that Europe, to be efficient geopolitically, has to be seen by the Europeans not only as a sphere of influence of France and Germany, but as their whole entity? Yes.
Yes, that's why I made this map of the flowers for each country, because each country is important with its unique beauty for making this story, this idea for Europe. So you cannot exclude some of them, because then the idea is not full. It cannot work. So each country is important here, and it's a matter of all of them to sit and to talk about this idea that came from France, or maybe could come from other country, but at the end, the decision is to all the European countries. Back in when Mitterrand gave the proposal for this grand design, there was also some of the entities, or some of the actors, how can I say, they felt afraid because how Europe will act on its own without the support from the United States of America, and if we have the capability to do this. But during time, I think that we Europe proved that it could be something unique, and could be also an example to a whole world how many nations, different countries with different cultures can work and function together, and buildings like original structure. European Union is also an example of the new regionalism, where you connect all the entities working together on the same aim. So it's a kind of complicated, and maybe in my presentation was complicated because I mentioned different things, but in order to give good structure how this project could be developed, you must examine the normative part, also the political part, the geographical. So I'm working on all of that, and that's why I put it. I've mentioned parts of each of these segments in the presentation, because it's easier with other regions in the world, but for Europe it's it's more complicated, and you must see each segment that you're approaching, because because of the danger of disintegration in the meantime.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I will ask again, do you have any question? I still have two questions to you, very important, I think, but maybe someone else has a question that would be maybe even more important. I don't know. Any questions? If not, I'm continuing with my questions. I will begin with the second one because you were speaking about America. I believe that one of the deep divisions of the European and their aim to be a geopolitical actor with a common view is the relation to the USA.
Yeah.
I cannot say that some countries are more pro-American and some are anti-American, because it's more complicated. In each country, you can find some more pro-Americans and more anti-Americans, and a lot of other relations to the USA in between. But it is very clear that on the eastern fringe, the neighbors of the countries closer to Russia that used to be under the Soviet domination are really believing in the security guarantee given by the USA, and are afraid very often, in those countries, the government are afraid that any stronger integration will be a danger to lose this so important protection coming from the USA. Do you think the EU is able to overpass this division? First point. And as in the same question, but second part, do you believe that the EU is able to defend itself without the USA?
Thank you for the question. It's I think this question is always present during the history of European Union. But I think that if the narrative is changed, and also the approach how the Europe will be reformed and developed, then the confidence in Eastern Europe countries will be towards Europe, because they are part of Europe. And until now, European Union was acting like a normative power. There was no narrative in the sense of the defense or protection. It was always, when it comes to that, it was always the USA. So it was easier that way, because the concept of European Union was not developed in that sense. But once the awareness for taking your destiny in your hands is more developing, then I think even the confidence in the countries that believe that Europe cannot make it without USA, that will be changed, because even when the Russia-Ukraine war started, you could see the difference of the approach of one part that believed in the protection from USA, NATO, and the others that wanted to solve this by European way. But then if you don't speak in one voice and you don't make decision for you, someone else is making it. And the danger is here that the decision someone else would make for the place where you're living. So if for your continent or your family. But I think that there is a necessary for Europe as a geopolitical actor, even more that because of these two different geopolitical concepts in the same continent. One from our side, the Europe united and free, and the other from Russia's side. So we know the concept of Dugin and Euro-Asia Union. So it is up to us how we will develop in the future as a follower and or as an entity by its own and deciding for its own destiny. Because even there was the idea for United States of Europe as by the example of United States of America, but it cannot be achieved because it's a different philosophy and the way how the USA is built and how these countries and the nation is built and how Europe is developed. And I think the beauty and the originality of idea of Europe is that because all these different nations, different cultures, making common history and common future together. So.
Thank you, thank you. Any questions? Any questions? If not, I have my second question. That was actually my first question, yes? Because you are speaking from Skopje, so I'm thinking about all those countries who would like to, who are waiting to finish the negotiation, to enter the EU. Some are waiting already 20 years or more. Yes.
Yes, we are waiting.
So, do you believe that the European political community could bring honey to their heart, or more frustrations that there will be like second type of worse member of the EU, not totally member after all these years? When French President Mitterrand was proposing to the former communist members just after the fall down of the regime to create a kind of confederation waiting for the entrance or their own smaller EU, it was totally refused. The countries of Central Europe that are now members were saying, we don't want to be second worst type of members. We want the only equal. So do you think, first of all, that it is acceptable for the citizens or a source of frustration? And second thing, what would be for the citizens of North Macedonia or Ukraine, of Albania, and so on, what would be the positive aspect of being member of this European political community? Okay, I believe it's a good idea, but I'm a little bit provocative. Yes.
And it's a good question. First, there's a difference between this proposal and Mitterrand's proposal. So we are not talking about substitute or cutting off or ending some European Union policy. No, the enlargement policy will go on, and the new methodology will be in force. And we hope that we will have positive results from the new methodology of the enlargement. But in the meantime, while all this is happening, because of the time we are living, this building of new world order, the geopolitical circumstances, the war and escalations, we must have alternative. And even there can be positive effects, because in some research, some of the Norwegian professors, they say that if you give a different status to the countries they want to join to the European Union, if you sit them on one table, they get a feeling like they are part of the family. So maybe even the progress of the enlargement policy will take place. So it is not a substitute; it is just alternative how to function all together, while the enlargement will give results in the meantime. It was very shocking accepted here at the Balkan when everybody heard about European political community. And yes, they were like, we will be the lower countries in the European Union. We want to be on the same level. Like, yes, but we must deliver results to be on the same level like everybody else. Because if you get countries that are not fulfilling the basic fundamentals of the construction of European Union, what is happening here will be copy paste to, I don't know, to France or to Poland, because I don't know, like the migrants flow. There was and even now the Balkan route is very active here, and if you don't have good policy and the way how everything is functioning over here, then you will have problems in the the other countries in European Union. So it is interconnected. That's why it's very important to get countries which are on not on the same level, but respecting the same values. And I think with making this European political community can be achieved even better results with the enlargement. But again, it's a matter of how everything will be how everything will be in practice delivered. So.
Katerina, all these questions are very... Yes.
I want to emphasize again that nothing is changing. The enlargement policy is staying as it is, but just there is another instrument with which you bring all the countries on the same table, like this family table, and you're discussing on these key issues for foreign, for defense, for security policy. In the meantime, you're pushing them to go further with the enlargement policy, where you must deliver results. And I think here it is unquestionable if we should enter at. It is not good for us, the candidate countries, to enter before, or even for the member countries.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Katerina, very much. I believe that our time is finishing now. It's good because you deserve some rest, but it's a little bit of pity for us because the debate is very, very interesting and very actual. Thank you very much. And I hope that we will stay in contact. You can as well come and participate to our regular meetings. So, and thank you for respecting the time discipline that is always very difficult.
Thank you.
Clap, clap, clap. And to the public, I would like to thank everybody. Thank you particularly for those who had questions and comments. And see you, all of you, for our next meeting for Geopolitical Tuesdays in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much. And if anybody is working on this or anybody have plus question, they can always contact me, email me. I'm here for everyone. Thank you very much again for having me.
And hello to Skopje.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.